Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us for my hopefully not too boring presentation. I'd like to spend the next 15-20 minutes just talking to you guys about my professional journey that began around 2009 here in Cyprus when I decided to go into business on my own. I'm a chartered accountant by background. I'm an international tax specialist. Prior to making the big decision to go into business on my own, I worked about 5, 6, 7 years for some of the major professional services firms in Cyprus, including Big Four. And I just felt at the age of, I believe it was 30 or 31 years old, back in 2009, that I was really ready to take that leap and go into business on my own. Before I get into that journey, I just want to kind of give a cautionary note on people who are also considering going into business on their own, who have that entrepreneurial spirit, as they call it. It's important to understand and filter out all of that nonsense that you see, especially on social media these days, that glorifies the luxurious aspects of being your own boss. So not having a timetable, going into work whenever you want, having staff, being able to command them to do as you wish, making lots of money, of course. Why else would you go into business on your own? The reality is that couldn't be further from the truth. I left a job that was paying me well in excess of 15,000 euros a month with 100% security as an employee to essentially start from zero. No clients, no rich parents or family, no handouts, and it was a major, major risk for me to move away from a high-paid salary job with all the security in the world to what I did. Risk aside, there's the other aspects as well. I was doing all of the work within our firm probably for the first 2 years. I was the cleaning lady for the first 2 years, because quite simply, we couldn't afford to have a full-time or even a part-time cleaning staff. We worked in offices that were sublet from an existing office, one of the largest recruitment companies in Cyprus. It was a very, very difficult, trying journey in those first couple of years. And obviously, there's exceptions to the case, right? There's people that open their own business and, you know, just things rocket and take off. We read about it in the media all the time, but they are the exceptions. The vast majority of business owners that I know and talk to, their journey and their path was quite similar to mine. During that time, you're also not people are not going to tell you that you're probably going to lose some friends. You're going to probably have to forget or depart to a certain extent from hobbies. I have gone to the gym my entire life, except for those first 3 years that I started my business back in 2009. Because going to the gym was an absolute luxury that I did not have. I did not have 1.5, 2 hours a day to dedicate to essentially a hobby. So let's get into some of the specifics. Maybe there's some things, some lessons I learned that might resonate with you guys. So the first couple of years were, as I alluded to, very challenging, very difficult, but there was also reward at every step of the way. I didn't create anything new. I did not create a new financial product. I did not introduce a new law, but what we did is we provided very good service, and I leveraged my own technical excellence, technical background to provide a very high level of service to clients. And clients referred other clients, and those clients to other clients. And instead of having this big marketing department to win clients, we ended up organically growing within the firm. And that's extremely important. I wouldn't be here today having my business if we were not recommended by our existing client base to other clients. As I said, there was rewards every step of the way. So there was a lot of hard work, but we were seeing, we were reaping the rewards at every step of the way, and that gave the motivation to keep going. So I hired 1 employee, 2 employees. We moved within the first year, not even, within the first 8-9 months, we moved into our own office, a very nice office building. The business begins to make money in the second year. Everything is looking great. Then 2013 comes along. You guys know what happened in Cyprus in 2013? Yeah, probably most of you do. And that was an existential occurrence. It was literally the end of not just my own business, but our industry as a whole in Cyprus. The so-called bank haircut was announced on a Friday. Sorry, it was announced on a Saturday. On that Monday, all of the executives, all of the partners at the big 4 firms, my big competitors essentially, had already announced 20 to 25% cuts in the salaries of all employees. They had fired people en masse, so any new hirings that had been done in the last few months, they immediately let them go. There was a knee-jerk reaction within the industry. I did not take that approach. The approach that I took was, let's wait and see how this plays out. Even if it is the end of our industry, it's going to take a couple of years for our clients to wind down their structures, and we'll be in business for at least the next couple of years, and we can decide what we're going to do afterwards. Well, the truth could not have been further from what we thought. Okay, 2013 was the absolute rocket launch pad to my business and to most of my competitors in the professional services page. Why? We had our 15 minutes of fame in Cyprus, and the entire world began to hear and see on the news about this little tiny island, Cyprus, that opens these bank accounts and really low corporate tax rate. It was the best marketing that anyone could have ever done. And you know, everyone was asking, why are all these Russians in Cyprus? What are they doing? Well, I want a Cyprus company too. So that was the one effect. The second effect was our government introduced the Citizenship by Investment program that turned out to be the Rolls-Royce of investment migration products in the entire world, which my company got active in the very early days in 2013, and we ended up becoming one of the leaders in Cyprus in that space. So to make a long story short, 2013, instead of being the end of my business, ended up being a launch pad into a whole different stratosphere of success. We began to make a lot of money from the years 2013 to 17, 18, 19, all the way up until 2020, when the Citizenship by Investment program, for those of you who know a little bit about it, was canceled. So at one point, we became an office of 50 people, and I was the only, and still am, the only partner in the business. And you would think that that is, you know, the ultimate sign of success, right? You've reached your goal. You've done what you set out to do. But that level of success brings upon itself a lot of other problems. Okay, so managing an office of 50 people, 50 lawyers and accountants is not easy at all. Personal problems begin to follow alongside those business problems. A divorce takes place during those years. What should have been the best 5-6 years of my professional life ended up being the worst, the absolute worst 5-6 years of my entire life. And I look at that in totality, not just from a business point of view, but also from a personal point of view. So 2020 is another one of these extremely shocking years where this citizenship by investment program that we've marketed all over the world and been very active and spent millions and millions actually in euros promoting this program is just as suddenly as the Cyprus haircut was announced, so was the end of this program due to a video, an Al Jazeera video that probably most of you have seen at one point or not. We woke up on a Monday morning and our president, Nikos Anastasiadis at the time, was on TV 8 in the morning announcing the end of that program. So that was a massive shift for our business. Within the next year to year and a half, I downsized the office to about 20, 25 people, which is where we currently are. I also felt exhausted. From a personal point of view, I was pretty much ready to call it quits. I've had a passion my entire life for academia, for teaching. I had a long-standing discussion and an agreement actually in place with a well-known university to head finance department for them. And my plan was to sell the business and continue my career in academia. So I had some very good high-level meetings and eventually proposals from some of the biggest competitors on the island that were interested in taking over my business. Unfortunately, I ended up selling the business to a family whose daughter ended up becoming my wife. And that sort of ruined my plans for exiting my business. So where I saw myself in 2021 doing something completely different, instead I was with a person who had acquired my company and essentially working with her until present day to grow our business, to grow the new business as it's evolved. So we're no longer focusing on investor immigration as much as we used to, because simply we do not have the products here in Cyprus. So we've shifted the business to international tax optimization with a big emphasis on the sorts of people that you see at this expo today. So that was a modification that was necessary as it was in 2013 and again in 2020 to stay a viable business, to stay as a profit producing business. So in a course of 16, 17 years, my business had to dramatically shift in order to survive 2 times. Okay? So look, there's an element of luck. There's an element of being at the right place at the right time. That's what I call luck. And then there's also an element of having your ear to the ground and being a good business person, understanding what you're good at, what you're not. For example, for myself, I'm not good at marketing. Someone hears that, would say, well, how could you have a successful business if you're not good at marketing? Well, it starts with understanding that you're not good at everything. I'm good at service delivery. I'm good at giving tax advice. I need help with the marketing initiative of my business, and I got good help. I had very good people, paid them very competitive salaries, helped, of course, devise a strategy for the marketing and growth of our business, but I was not driving that initiative myself because I knew there was other people that were better at doing that than me. So that's really it. That's kind of my journey from beginning in 2009. My humble beginnings, I would describe them to present day. I'm extremely happy with the position I am today, both from a business and a personal point of view. I wish I had emphasized as much back in 2009 and the early days having a work-life balance. That to me is a red line today. I will not sacrifice my personal life, the few hobbies that I have in my life, spending time with my family. It doesn't matter how much business we have, there's always time to have that correct balance. And I think when you give that emphasis to that balance, it reflects also on your business as well, and it translates to success. So as I said, hopefully something there might resonate with someone that's thinking of going into business on their own. How many people here, by show of hands, are in business on their own, work for themselves? One person? All right. Okay, so there's a few of you thinking about making potentially that decision, that entrepreneurial decision to go on to business in yourself. I fully support it, but at the same time, I also have 110% respect for people that build their careers over the long run as employees of good, respectable businesses. I'm not going to stand here and favor one route over the other. I think there's people whose personalities are well suited towards entrepreneurial life and others that are more suited being in a more structured, potentially safer environment as an employee. That's it. I don't want to bore you guys too much. If anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to answer. Otherwise, we break for lunch. Sure.
In the moments when, you know, life and your professional side and your personal side of life was taking a downturn, I guess, and you found it quite tough, what stops you from going back to a 15,000 per month euro salary and continuing this and finding the next step in your life?
For me, my personality, and I would say it's a similar situation for the people that I know that are in business for themselves. There is no going back to being an employee, not for any amount of money in the entire world. I could not live following someone else's structure. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. That is perfectly fine. But once you take this path, I really don't understand. And there's some people that do go back. I don't personally understand it. I could never go back to that sort of lifestyle, environment, and work career.
What do you regret most doing? What do you regret most doing and most not doing during your journey?
Well, by far my biggest regret is not giving the emphasis to my personal, my family life. which suffered the ultimate consequence. I make no secrets. I divorced because of the time I spent growing my business. And then the worst part for me was the damage to my personal family life didn't happen in the very early years. It happened during those years where we were taking off. We had taken off, and we were making tons of money. And, I mean, you have all the reason in the world there to take the foot off the gas a little bit. That's by far my biggest regret, and also from talking to colleagues, because that part of my story is not unique, unfortunately. I hear the same sort of comments from quite a few colleagues.
Thank you. Can you give us three factors to be good entrepreneurship? If you would suggest everyone to consider that being an entrepreneur. Thank you.
Know what you're good at and what you're not. Nobody is good at everything. So a business has many aspects to it. So if you take my business, I'm in the professional services. I'm a services firm, right? So like a law firm, like any type of services firm. So there's the service delivery, there's the HR function, there's the marketing function, and they all have to work and be successful for that business to be overall successful. So you need to know what you're good at, what you're not, and deploy the right people to help you in the areas where you need help. That's, I think, number one. Number two, again, specific to my own industry, you need to be a people person. You need to be good with people and dealing with them, not just on a work professional basis, but on an interpersonal basis, especially in our industry. There's no 9 to 5. We work some crazy long hours, and you develop a family type bond with the people you work with. I have Mina from my office has been with me for, I think, 15 or 16 years. So these people I consider part of my family. So to be successful in my business, you need to develop these people skills, especially with your staff. The last point, I think you need, well, again, taking from my own personal experience, you need to be able to manage growth effectively. And that doesn't mean managing your cash flow. That means managing all aspects of growth. Okay, with growth, that means you better have your recruitment effort in line. You better be bringing on the right people at the right time. Managing growth is just, it's key, and it's where a lot of good, successful businesses unfortunately falter. So those are three, I think, of many factors that are required.
Josh, pleased to meet you. My name is Alexander, doing derivatives in general and fascinated by math. Can you tell about the ratio of failing over overall and the ratio of betrayals over all relationships during your business time? Thank you.
Sorry, I caught the last part about betrayals in the business, just a brief. Was there a first part to that question, though?
It's true.
Okay. Betrayals. Well, there's been many, unfortunately. But you know what? At the end of the day, I don't think they deserve too much attention or time. I always say making money is a dirty business. I don't know anyone who's made money or a lot of it. I don't want to use the word cleanly, because I firmly believe I work in a 100% clean industry, but making money is not clean. involves conflict. I've had people that I've brought into my business as partners, given them very, very strong opportunities, and they did not, I think, give the amount of respect that I believe me and my firm deserved for the opportunity that was given. And I'm not talking about employees. I've had employees. I'm actually very happy when an employee resigns and tells me, Charles, I'm going to business on my own. I'm starting my own law firm. I'm starting my own audit firm. I've had that a couple of times, and I'm thrilled when I hear that. I really am, and I try and support them. I not just try, I give them clients when I can, especially in the early days. I do everything I can to support them, because for me, that's a sign of success when someone leaves and is able to start their own business. That means they learned something at our firm, something valuable that helped them launch into their own business. Betrayals, there's many, and like I said, not worth the time or effort to focus your mind and your resources thinking about it.
Hi. Thank you for sharing your story, your honest story. I also had a business and I had to close down after the haircut, so I feel your pain. And I also made mistakes along the way that, with 20/20 vision now, like hindsight.
Sure.
Like, oh, I could have done this and I could have done this to survive during that time. What would you say were some of the mistakes that you may have made, and what did you do that was right that kind of hedged that?
Okay, look, I mean, mistakes we're all going to make. No one is going to be able to run a business, especially for 15, 16, 17 years, and not make mistakes. And it's easy for me to stand here and tell you, oh, well, you know, you need to hedge this risk and hedge that risk. Well, I mean, let's look at the reality of 2000 in my business in 2013 and 2020. I mean, who could have ever predicted what happened? So there's the element, like I said, I'll say it again, there is the element of luck, being at the right place at the right time. Unfortunately, 2013 was the burial site for way too many businesses in Cyprus, especially those that woke up from one day to another with a much smaller bank account than they had the previous day. But success is going to be determined, in my opinion, the way I look back and see it, it's the small decisions that accumulate and the wins that you have on a weekly, monthly basis. Yeah, you've got to make good decisions as a business owner. You've got to capitalize when you have the good clients. I didn't allow a single client in 2013 to lose a penny in Bank of Cyprus and Laiki Bank, and I'm very proud of that. And I say this to some colleagues, and I don't think they believe me, but I say it on the record here. Not a single one of my hundreds and hundreds of clients I allowed to retain their bank account in one of these two banks. I got them all to close their accounts, transfer to other banks. One client of mine was so happy. It was an Iraqi client. Was so happy that I saved him. I can't remember the amount. I think it was 1.2, 1.3 million euros from Laiki Bank. That he gave me a call one day, and he goes, "Where are you? I'm in Cyprus. Can you come to the land registry?" I said, "What land registry? What are you talking about?" He had bought me an apartment, and he wanted me to go to the land registry to transfer it. And this was 2013, an apartment was a big deal for me. That was by far the biggest gift I'd ever received in my life. And it was a result of just a decision I made to not allow my clients to be exposed to something that I felt was almost certain, the collapse of these two banks. But again, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I foresaw what was going to happen. Nobody did. And thank God I didn't have money back then to accumulate in any of the banks. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.